I am delighted to be joined by Joanna Ellis today. Jo, thank you so much for joining me. You are presenting live in person at the NLP conference next year. So please do start by telling us a little bit more about your presentation and yourself and your presentation. And your presentation is called Transforming Self-Doubt, Cutting Edge NLP Tools for Imposter Syndrome. It's going to be very interesting.
Thank you, Karen. And first of all, thank you so much for this opportunity today to talk about what I'm going to be talking about at the conference. Very excited to be doing it live. I live over in Spain and do most of my work online. So to actually be able to meet people and be in the same room as them is very, very special for me. So I am a trainer of NLP and hypnosis, time-bound therapy, various different modalities, and I've been running my business for about 16 years. And one of the reasons I got into it was because of imposter syndrome. Of course, I didn't know it was called that then, even though it was a term that came around in the 1970s. At the time, I just thought I was really struggling with confidence, had a lot of self-doubt, even in areas where I was really, really proficient, and outside people would tell me I was really good at things, and I just didn't internalize it, didn't believe it myself. So I still remember going to the bookshop and getting Paul McKenna's cassette tape, which was I Can Make You Confident, on tape, listening to it over and over again, and that's where I discovered NLP and hypnosis and immediately fell in love with the incredible tools and strategies that we know and love. And then imposter syndrome kept showing up in my life. Every time I had a new project or a new job, just had this feeling of not feeling good enough. And so luckily, I think we're so blessed when we are trainers and practitioners that we get to work on our own selves as well as helping our clients. So that's where my business developed from that. Very, very, very excited to be sharing about it in the conference.
I think it's probably a topic that's close to many people's hearts,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
myself
absolutely.
included. So
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I saw a recent study and it's that 82% of people can struggle with it at various different times in their lives. So a big part of what I want to do is normalize it. You know, it's time as coaches, as therapists, as practitioners, sometimes we feel like we have to have this professional mask, and absolutely we want to be professional. But in an opportunity like we get at the conference, it will be let's drop the masks, let's be
yeah,
vulnerable, and let's share how it's really going on for each of us as well.
I think it's key when you said about internalizing it. I thought, oh yeah, what's that? I mean, I know what it is, but yes, it's yeah, that's I think that's the bit that I miss sometimes in that process. But so I mean, obviously you're a new presenter to us at the conference. You're not new to the conference because you have been one of our stewards many times in the past. So it's lovely to have you on the presenter's side instead.
Thank you.
But what would be fresh, innovative, and new that delegates might take away from your session?
I think, well, imposter syndrome is so prevalent now in the sense that we see it being talked about all the time, and there's a reason for that. Originally, the term the imposter phenomenon was about often highly achieving, highly successful women predominantly, but it affects men as well, who don't internalize, feel like a fraud. And that had its place in the 70s. But nowadays, things have shifted with social media, with being faced constantly with your competitors, with other practitioners, and that side of things. There's this an extra sort of pressure to be visible, to show up, to
Mm,
share more of yourself and
mm,
not hide necessarily behind your business name or your banner or whatever. So it's changing all of the time. So I think there's always going to be a fresh element to it. And it's how can we thrive even with these imposter, what I call imposter moments, because we're always having to shift and change in
yeah.
today's society, today's way of marketing our practices and so on. So it's very normal for people to be faced with it.
Mm. I love that imposter moments. I'll remember that one. So, what top tip could you give to delegates who are thinking about attending your session at the conference?
This question came very easily to me. And I feel, and one of the many things I love about you, Karen, is that you've always been very open about the fact that, well, with me, that this is something that you sometimes struggle with.
Yeah.
And I think that shows how much integrity you have and how much honesty you have and how vulnerable you are, which are signs of incredible practitioners and people that really embody NLP in my world. So it's for people to be able to come and allow their masks to lower, to be open, to be vulnerable, to share about their own imposter moments, because it's in talking about it and normalizing it that we really see that we're not alone, and then we can really help each other, start helping each other, learning strategies from each other as well to make that difference.
Yeah. Lots of state management involved.
Yes. For me as well, it's interesting. I mean, we had a conversation just before about how, because I talk about imposter syndrome a lot in my work, it shows up a lot for me.
Right.
And I think when we have this training, we're like, part of us might be saying, "Oh, I should be able to sort myself out, and I should be able to push
Yeah.
through this, and I've got all the tools and so on." And
Yeah.
it's being kind and compassionate to ourselves and thinking, yes, and it's okay to feel this way.
Exactly. So, Joe, I mean, obviously, as I said to you, you've been a steward at the conference before. What inspired you to want to present at what's now going to be the last in-person
Yes.
conference?
Oh, well, I'm very blessed to be presenting at the last one. Very sad as well. I've seen what's gone on behind the scenes, how hard you and Cash and Shannon and all the stewards have worked, and what a special event it is. And I think when I tie it back to my own imposter moments, I realise that in the past I've very much kept myself in my own lane in my NLP. I've kept myself small or big enough to build my business, but not to be out there. So this is really and that conflicts with one of my highest values, which is contribution, which
Right.
often is the case with imposter syndrome. People keep themselves small, but they're also the people with the biggest hearts that want to make the biggest difference. So there's that dissonance there. So I thought, I hit my 50s a couple of years ago. This is my time, put myself out there. And also I know that there's so much good that can come from this, because it shows up so often. So many people will have clients that have it, and often those clients will be people that on the surface look super successful, look confident, have the achievements, but underneath the surface they may be struggling. So if I can help in any way, give tools, give strategies to help clients but also to help ourselves, then I will be very proud.
I'll have to remember with this one that I'm an organizer rather than a delegate, and not be elbowing my way to the front.
Thank you.
But just to remind those watching, Joe is presenting live in person at the NLP conference in May 2026. And your topic, Joe, is transforming self-doubt, cutting edge NLP tools for imposter syndrome. So thank you so much for explaining a bit more about that today, and really looking forward to your session at the conference.
Thank you, Karen.